So who wants to hear a war story? Hey guys, Submoto here. So you know the feeling when you sit around and you're just chilling and all of a sudden you start thinking about times past and you know, the good old memories, the good times and the bad times. Well, I just had one of those moments and I figured I might share a story with y'all. What's this guy gonna do? So this one's from a couple of years back when I was in the in active service, and I was deployed in Africa, in Ethiopia and Eritrea, in the United Nations mission in Ethiopia and Eritrea. And our job as military observers was basically to observe the movements, military movements of those two countries. So in essence, we were the eyes and ears of the Security Council. Anyway, that's a whole different story. The point is, we were unarmed military observers, which is a total different experience from the from Iraq. I had just gotten back from Iraq, and you know, I was battle ready, and then all of a sudden I take on this mission, and I was supposed to be there a whole year. I was there for more than a year actually, but the mission was a 1-year mission, and you know, just the fact that we were so restricted and we were unarmed gave me the heebie-jeebies. And we were deployed in teams of 6 to 8 officers, and we're talking, you know, captain and up. So we had lieutenant colonels and full-bird colonels and the whole thing, but from all sorts of different countries. We had Romanians and Bulgarians and Ukrainians and, you know, Swedish, Norwegian, Swiss, everything. And our bases were basically out in the middle of nowhere. We'd get what we could, and we just put our equipment up, satellite dishes and whatnot, and that's where we lived. We were in the middle of nowhere, basically. Sometimes in mud huts and whatnot. So one day we were, I guess we just got bored somehow. We were sitting around and looking at maps, and one of the guys, there was a Polish guy and a Ukrainian guy. They look at the map and they realize that the border between Ethiopia and Sudan was a different border than what they'd experienced. So they got this funky idea that they might want to explore that and figure out where the actual border goes. Where, at what point is it no longer the Ethiopian army patrolling the area, and at what point is it you know, Sudanese security forces or whatever. And that, I mean, it was more like a hypothetical thing, and we were kind of like laughing at, yeah, well, you know, United Nations maps, but no. So the next day, 2 of the guys, those who shall not be named, decided to go into Sudan, into the Sudan, you know, past the border point. Where, and this is a big no-no. There's a United Nations mission in Ethiopia and Eritrea called UNMI, or there was, and there's another United Nations mission under a completely different set of rules called United Nations mission in Sudan, and there is just absolutely no crossing that border. Totally big no-no. Because there are different rules, and you know, there's a certain number of military observers that are allowed to be in the country, and this and that. But anyway, so these guys, they decide to take a jeep on one of the patrols, and then they cross the border without really telling anyone, actually, just to see where the you know, when people start speaking a different language, and where is the actual border. I guess they set out to draw a new border in somehow, or just report. I don't know what they were thinking, but anyway, you know, we get back from, I was on like a different patrol, We get back to base, and the guys aren't back yet. We're like, what the hell? Why aren't they back yet? So we kind of try to figure out where they're at and what's going on, and then we get a call back from them by satellite radio saying that they're in Sudan and they're about 30 kilometers into the country, and that they were stuck. They were stuck in a mud field, I guess, or something. Hey, it's almost nighttime and I'm on a different bike. How did I do that? I just didn't get to finish my story, so I'll try and finish it off here. Yeah, so anyway, so these guys are they just kind of disappeared on us, and we get this call in. They're like, yeah, they're stuck in like a mud field and can't get out, and we're like, oh man. And the sun was going down, and we're not allowed out at night because we're unarmed, and we just rules and regulations anyway. So the next day, as soon as the sun came out, we mounted a rescue mission, and it was the rest of the team. So me, another guy in one car, and then another Jeep with 2 other guys. Went out there and tried to find them, and they'd given us the coordinates of where they were. So we had no choice. We had to go to Sudan and on like a rescue mission and find their asses. Anyway, so we drive out there in the middle of nowhere, somewhere in Sudan. We drive and drive and drive and drive, and we gotten their coordinates, but we couldn't find them. So we just kept driving and driving. I think we were out there for like 8 hours. And at one point, I look out the window, and I see a cow that's like blown to pieces, like half a cow or whatever. And this is like it's a sign of danger, because in a country like Sudan or Ethiopia, in the middle of nowhere, if a cow dies or gets run over or whatever, if you see like a dead animal, there's only one reason why people wouldn't take that animal and eat it, and that reason is landmines. And sure enough, I look out the window and we've got like craters, and I'm like, fuck man, we're stuck in a minefield. And I was like, shit man, what do we do? And there was no doubt about it, it was a minefield. And and just recently we'd lost one guy to another mine. Well, his driver, who wasn't a UN observer, he was a civilian, got killed, and the other guy, the guy we knew, got his leg blown off in the minefield. So basically, like half the car, like. So anyway, so we had these things like running through our mind, and we're like, shit, man, what? How do we get out of here? So here we are, driving around for 8 hours in Sudan, and all of a sudden, we can't find these guys, and all of a sudden we're stuck in a freaking minefield. So anyway, so I tell the driver, I said, well, I guess the only way out of here is the way we came in. So we start rolling in reverse and kind of do that for a few miles until we look around. It looks like we're safe, and we got out of there okay. I had my balls in my throat though. Anyway, so but still no sign of these guys. They're just gone. And so we call up, and we've been calling up to the operations officer all along, saying we can't find them. And then finally, I get on the radio. I'm like, I was pretty pissed off. I'm like, what are we doing out here? We got stuck in the minefield. Blah blah blah. We can't find these guys. What the hell's going on? And the operations officer says, oh yeah, they called in a few hours ago. They're on their way back. They got out okay. And you didn't tell us this? What the hell? Well, this is like the charm of working with people with different cultures, and well, I don't know, whatever. So so here we are. out in the middle of nowhere, and so I tell the guys, okay, let's just go back then. I mean, if they're on their way back, then I'm sure they're okay. So we start driving back, and on our way back, here are these guys on the side of the road with the locals, hanging out, drinking Buna coffee. And so we stop, and we're like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Let's just go back. So we do that, we get in the cars, and then all of a sudden we're surrounded by guys with, like, in civilian clothes with Kalashnikovs. And we can't understand what they're saying, obviously, but we're unarmed, and these guys are pointing their guns at us, so we ain't going nowhere. If you know what I mean. So anyway, so we kind of tried. We had an interpreter, and he tells us, yeah, well, we've been detained, is what they're saying. And we're like, no, well, we can't be detained. We're, you know, we had our diplomatic passports and United Nations and this and that, and you know, we're not detained, so we're just going back. See you later. And so I try to talk to these guys, and I try to tell them, look, United Nations diplomatic, bye bye. So I get back in my in my Jeep, and as soon as the guy understands the gestures that I wanted to get out of there, he like cocks his rifle, like, you know, just to kind of like show me like this is serious business. I'm like, all right, fair enough. I'll stay if you insist. So anyway, they round us up, and so this is the other patrol, which is two guys, the guys that were stuck out there originally, and then our rescue mission. And here we are, been arrested by a bunch of guys with machine guns in civilian clothes, and we had no idea what was going on. And they kind of take us to like a local prison, I guess it was. Turns out these guys were militia, is what they called themselves anyway. Apparently, not police, not anything official, but like civilians with guns. Apparently, the mayor or something had sent them out. So what had happened was that we crossed the border into Sudan, and at some point, somebody must have seen us and told the authorities that there were UN vehicles crossing the border. So they round up their militia and give chase, right? So we get stuck in this jail, and mind you, this jail is like it's basically outdoors, and the jail cells were made of bamboo sticks, but it was it was solid. And there are other people in there too. They had us in like our own cell though, or room or whatever you'd call it. But you know, they've got the other guys in there, like real hardened Ethiopian criminals or whatever, and they're just kind of, they look like shit. They look like they've been whipped, and we were just like, oh fuck, man, what are they gonna do to us? But they were really nice. I mean, they were really nice, and they came out with Coca-Colas and everything, and asked if we were hungry and if we were doing. I mean, I think they understood that we weren't just the regular everyday prisoner. And but it took a while until we knew what was going on. I mean, we had no idea it was like political. We just thought, oh man, a bunch of guys, machine guns, and I had all these pictures running through my head, like guys getting their throats cut on TV, or you know those things you've seen from Iraq. And that was like one of my biggest fears when I went to Iraq. I was like, shoot me, blow my legs off, blow my balls off, do whatever you want, but do not fucking kidnap me and decapitate me in front of my family or whatever. So I had like these fears, and I was like, oh shit, man. Anyway, we figured they weren't going to do anything to us. It didn't look like it anyway. And we were there for, I think, like a day, a little more than a day. And eventually the mayor came out, or the politician, and this guy looked like, I mean, I call him a politician, or a mayor, but it wasn't. It was just like some dude. And like a mafia boss or whatever. And eventually they let us go. And that was it. I mean, had no idea what turned. I mean, I know that the UN kind of got on the two guys' case that crossed the border originally, but as far as anything, and I think they threatened like send them home or something, but they didn't. I guess they got off, and we were just the rescue mission, so we were like totally innocent. I mean, yeah. So we reported everything to headquarters, so they knew exactly what we were doing. It's not like we weren't on like a rogue rescue mission or anything. Anyway, so so that's one of those things I was thinking about. I thought I'd share that with you all. Yeah. Those were the days. Anyway, so remember to subscribe and ride, and I'll catch you all later.